give you a movie review about Southside With You. I love this film, and it's directed by Richard Tang, and it stars Tika Sumpter and Parker Sayers, and they did an amazing job. I saw that Tika Sumpter had a vocal coach to teach her how to have like that sort of Chicago drawl, and she did an amazing job just getting like Michelle Obama's accent. It was so perfect, and of course Parker did a great job. I guess not really impersonating Barack Obama, but he did amazing. Whoever was doing makeup did an incredible job because they both look just like the couple. And of course Richard killed the game with the directing. This isn't his typical style of film, but I thought it was like really great to see him do this style. And a lot of people think that this film is a romantic comedy. This film is not a romantic comedy at all. It's not a cute, mushy film. You definitely can go see it with Bae, but it's not that kind of film. I guarantee you will still enjoy it, but it's very political. There's a lot of important commentary, and it's an awesome film. So I suggest you all go see it. So Barack gives Michelle an explanation about the black art that is found in the show Good Times, and he explains Eric Barnes and sort of his style, and basically he's telling her that Eric Barnes basically painted people that are from the ghetto, from the hood, but he put them in different style of clothing and painted them in their natural setting, but made it look very romanticized and made it look like high art, which I really love. As a person who loves art and loves history, I love how they insert that segment in there. I think it educated the audience, and obviously at the time it educated Michelle. And I think it's very interesting because Barack is one who's like half black and Michelle is fully African American, so it was really cool to see him educate her about a black artist. I think a lot of times people who are African American, we don't always know everything about being black. So I think a lot of times Barack Obama, his blackness is sort of challenged because he is half Kenyan and then half Caucasian. So it's really cool to see someone who is, you know, of mixed race really go in there and teach somebody who's African American about black art. So I thought that was really amazing. So what I noticed is that the Obamas are facing a lot of criticism right now. People are saying, what has Michelle Obama done for the poor black girls in the south side of Chicago? What has Obama done for the black people in Chicago? And I think Donald Trump recently said, I've saved more black lives than the Obamas have. So what's really cool about this is people who may not have known about the Obamas before they became president and first lady, you see that Michelle dedicated a lot of her time to helping single women and women in the south side of Chicago and being basically like a free lawyer and counselor for them. So that was amazing to sort of see that Michelle has put in the work for that community, but people constantly criticize them of that. And also Barack gives a speech in the film, and you know, I think the speech at the time was catered towards that audience, but now it's more geared towards the people who nowadays who say that Barack doesn't show enough love to black people, he hasn't done enough for the community. And we kind of see that both of them have put in so much work into Chicago, and you can tell that their morals and values are in that community and that they care about the community so much. So of course now if they're in the White House they can do more, but also they explain in the film that it's a step-by-step process. So I thought it was really smart how they incorporated what they have done in the past to sort of, I guess, address the haters. In my opinion, it was the Obamas addressing the haters, saying, hey, Michelle has helped, you know, young women, poor women in the south side of Chicago, and Barack has helped poor people in the south side of Chicago, and they will continue to do that because that's where their heart is. That's where they spend their time doing that. So it sort of just shut down the haters, but it was also within the context of the film, and I thought it was beautifully done. I'm always defending the Obamas, so I thought that was really cool. One aspect of the film that I really enjoyed is seeing Michelle Obama be such a strong black woman and giving so much shade to Barack. And I sort of want to go through this screen and say, girl, don't you know he is the future president? But it was just super cool to see a woman sort of curving a man and just saying like, get out my face, or oh, this isn't professional. You can tell that she really liked him, but she didn't want to let her guard down. And it's interesting because the entire time she's like, hey, this isn't a date, we need to remain professional. And of course Barack is trying and trying, as men do, and the good ones stay persistent. And you know, they go to the movie theaters and then it's obvious that she's on a date and they bump into their boss. And for her it's a bigger deal because she has more clout at the firm that they're working at. And it made me think, I think a lot of people's reaction to that part of the film is, oh no, Michelle was right, she should have kept her guard up, she should not have gone to the movies or out to drink with Barack, you know, it shouldn't have been a date, she should have stuck her ground. But honestly, it made me think, Why, as women especially, and black women, do we always have to remain professional inside and outside of the workplace? I think a lot of other races don't have to worry about that. When they're outside of work, they're done. They set their social media accounts on private, they go to bars, they act up in Vegas, they do crazy wild things. But I think as a woman and as a black person or a person of color, we always think, oh no, we have to be professional all the time, and what if someone's watching me, or what if I bump into my boss and they see this side of me? And it's just really unfortunate. We should be able to be free and be ourselves and not have that double standard. But this film lightly brought it out without beating us over the head with the idea that she can't even go on a date with a really nice gentleman that was obviously her soulmate and who she was meant to be with, because she was so worried about being professional 24/7. And it's uncomfortable being professional. Sometimes you want to unwind. I think a lot of people, as soon as they step out the office, they can unwind and be themselves. But for people of color, and also for women who in the law industry and other industries, it's really tough for us to just be able to let loose all the time. So I think this film definitely hit that note, and it really made me wonder about that, and even about myself. You know, am I enjoying myself inside and outside of the office? So I thought that was very intelligent and sly the way they put that in there. Lastly, I really like how political this film was. It talked about the state that Chicago was in back in 1998 when they went on this date. Yeah, I believe they went on the date in 1998. That's when the era that was supposed to happen. And you know, Barack Obama addresses the community as they have a meeting about getting their community center built and getting grants for that. And it just shows the struggle back then that Chicago had to get community centers, to have peaceful agreements with the police, and how that's still happening to this day. Almost a decade later, or actually almost 2 decades later, almost 20 years later, they're still having the same issue. And it's just really unfortunate to see that. And it just made the film more political by seeing him address the issues that were happening in Chicago in '98 and the issues that are happening now in 2016. So in saying that, I want to ask you a question. So with films like Barbershop 3, Chirac, and Southside With You, all three of these films make commentary on the gun violence, the gang violence, and the police brutality that's happening in Chicago, and a lot of the negative things that are happening to the youth, and a lot of times the innocent youth, and how the poor people are struggling from that. So how do you think that film has inspired the media to then spark some political change and reform that's happening in Chicago right now? I know that recently Barack Obama held a meeting about gun violence and the issues that are going on in Chicago, but how do you think that these three films has helped push that? I think a lot of times we think that films happen as a reaction to culture and what's going on in society, but oftentimes films spark and kind of control what's going on in the community. So a lot of people live their life and do the things that they do because of something they've seen in a film or seen on television. So yeah, my question is to you, how have these three films, Chirac, Southside With You, and Barbershop 3, by them having commentary about the negative things that are going on in Chicago, how has this sparked real change for that community? So I absolutely loved this film. You should totally go check it out. Please leave comments below, subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this. If you really like this and like what I'm saying, then I'll be more than happy to do another film review. Alright, see you next time.